Hello. Welcome everyone to Can Spa weekend with, as you can see, all 20 drivers today as well, and a nice full grid for everyone to compete round what is the longest circuit on the calendar, and probably, well, it has the I believe it is the most amount of corners on any track as well. It's around 7 kilometers long, as so a lot of twists and turns, a lot of track to contend with for everyone today as well. So we've got hopefully a real treat on our hands for qualifying, for sprint qualifying, which is 12 minutes long, and we will then have 8 laps of a race, and then we'll have 18 minutes of qualifying, and then 22 laps of the main race. So we do have plenty of drivers out on track at the minute, and we've got a lovely wet qualifying ahead of us, so this is going to throw up a few twists and definitely a few twists today. Drivers probably going to be placed all over the show, and Oro is our first driver to make the most out of the empty track ahead of him. He's our first driver to go for a flying lap, and up through a Rouge and Radion. He goes down the Camel Straight. Unfortunately, DRS won't be open this time around due to this horrible weather we have at the minute. And although unfortunately invalidates his lap just as he comes to the end of Sector 1. Definitely unfortunate for the Aston Martin driver there, and not how he would have wanted to start his qualifying. Here we have 7. He's just started his first flying lap. Through turn 1 he goes up into a Rouge. He flies through there, drifts through slightly through the top part there, and keeps it well, does extremely well not to have lost too much of the car there. And we have unfortunately just seen one of the Ferraris on our mini-map go off at the exit of Radion there. Unfortunate for Anime, and he is going to have one tough sprint race ahead of him to come from the back of the grid. But as we know, he is very quick through races and probably throw us a few surprises. As we are still watching the Williams of 7 at the minute, looking pretty strong through the first couple of sectors now, and as we come through the mid part of the circuit, we are heading towards the end of Sector 2 through a couple of low speed left hand turns. He is going extremely quick, a 124 so far. It is tough, tricky conditions at the minute for all of these drivers. We haven't quite got anyone that's set a lap time, as Adam sets our benchmark of a 156.398. What can everyone else bring to the table in this session? Ryan goes second at the moment with a 58.8. McCoy 56.1. Werewolf 7th places. He goes 53.3. He goes extremely quick through on his first lap and nicely sat in provisional pole at the minute. Still plenty of time left. We've just had 7 smash through into the 54-second mark as well. Oliver going third fastest at the moment. We've got Ice and Doctor currently he's just about to start his lap. We've just had, I believe, Mr. G go through. Ago's just wrong button there. Ago, Tin Man have just flown through as well. Fives will no doubt be the next driver across the line. Himself and the other Ferrari driver of Logan pretty close behind him. These are no doubt gonna be pretty close times between the two of them. And Fives goes third fastest and Logan goes 11th fastest at the moment. Some pretty decent lap times there. Oro smashes the previous provisional pole sitter exceptions time, goes 7 tenths quicker. That is extremely quick from the Aston Martin driver of Oro. He is on for a very good season so far. Is Oro, and once again setting the benchmark in qualifying. Shifty setting a 2-minute 2, a little bit off the pace for the Racing Bull driver, just managing his way round this qualifying at the moment and taking it easy, just building laps up as and when he can. Hasn't exactly been very easy for many of them. Ice has just set the fastest first sector, looking pretty good in the Alpine. We've not been on board him for very long, but as we jumped on board it was purple sector 1. So what can he do through the rest of this lap? He's halfway through sector 2 now and looking pretty strong at the moment. And what can he do with this right and left? He's coming up a little bit slidey on the rear of the car there, but he holds it well, coming through the 2 tight right hand corners. Not exactly the easiest to navigate at times, but he does it nicely. And now he is going to be flat out to pretty much the end of this lap until he gets to the chicane in a few moments time. A little bit of traffic to deal with a Red Bull, I believe it is, just on the outside of the track. He's now got a McLaren on the right hand side who moves out of the way nicely through the final 2 corners. This is going to be tough for him. He's not got too much deploy left on his battery, and he does go 4th fastest in his Alpine. That is a very respectable time for Ice on that lap. We've got Fives now just coming up to the back of Ice, who's just finished his lap as we've seen, and collecting a load of tow at the minute from the Alpine, who's just moved out of the way at the right time not to give too much of a tow down this perfect straight of what Fives probably would have wanted, but he's done enough for the quickest sector 1 overall with just that bit of tow through the first half of the sector there. So as we come through the 2 quick left hand corners now, a little bit wobbly on the mid part of the corner there. Not what Fives would have wanted, but it's still enough time, enough to hopefully recover that little bit of a moment he's just had. And through the end of sector 2 he goes. He is 8 tenths quicker than his previous lap. This is going to be a phenomenal time if he can get it right. He is currently into the 154s. What can he do through the final 2 corners in the chicane? This is going to be pretty close to fastest overall. Where would it place him? what can Fives do in this McLaren? He goes second fastest, only 14 milliseconds off the lead. That is exceptionally close from the McLaren and the Aston Martin at the moment. This is going to be, I was going to say this is going to be a battle to the end, but we have got 1 minute and 10 seconds left of the session, and anything is possible for the end. We've still got Pizza and Jensen yet to set lap times. Jensen has been pretty good in qualifying in over the course of the season. What can he do on this wet and miserable Spa track? Not the easiest, as we know. So Pizza is on his final flying lap. He is quickest at the moment. 7 had his quickest in sector 2. Sorry, 7 is now quickest overall. He has gone 7 tenths quicker than Oro. He is absolutely flying at the moment in top spot. He is done brilliantly over the course of this season as well, taking a proper championship fight to the Aston Martins at the moment. So Pizza now, as he crosses the line, he goes 10th fastest at the moment with a 56.2. That will be his final run in qualifying, as he takes, or no doubt will take the checkered flag now, as he finishes his run at the start of at the end of turn 1. We've got Oro now on a flying lap. He was quickest once again through the first sector. He's looking pretty good through this sector as well. And where can Oro place his car in this session? We've got, well, it's over for Dr. Shifty, Mr. G, and Ice at the moment, so we've got a fair few drivers still to go. We've got Jensen at the minute. We haven't seen much of him this qualifying session, but we will see him cross the line any minute now, and he is about to go into 5th place. That is a pretty good lap for the Haas driver. He left it late. Adam goes second quickest. Oliver goes quickest overall. Pretty good lap times. This is going to be extremely close now. Even closer than I first expected going into this session. Oro now coming across the line in a minute. Exception goes quickest for 53.005. These are some blistering quick lap times in the wet. Oro now goes into the 52-second mark, and he has just smashed the pole position time by a whole second. That is absolutely crazy. Fair play to Oro, fair play to Oliver. Exception and 7 all battling it out extremely hard for the top spot in sprint qualifying. Oro comes out on top, Exception in second. Oliver will finish off the top 3 in qualifying, and we are going to have one hell of a race on our hands, and we'll see who comes out on top in a few moments' time. What the bloody hell has he done that? What the fuck? So we are about to see 8 laps in this sprint race. It is going to be lovely and dry, as we can see. Hopefully it will stay that way as well, and we should have some extremely competitive racing on our hands in a minute. we'll see who comes out on top as well. Drivers just making final little tweaks to any front wings, differentials, or even tyres. See which they decide to start on, whether that will be the mediums, which will probably be the likely option for a lot of drivers. Maybe the hard tyres, not. We could see the hard tyres in this race. I'm not sure who would go for them. The soft tyres are probably going to be a bit of a no-no in this race. Not exactly the most durable. But again, it is a slim possibility that someone could take them to the end, but it is very, well, not very unlikely, but it's quite slim that it is going to happen. So, just looking actually, some drivers are possibly, if not the majority, could well be going for So yeah, it's likely we're going to see a few on the softs, a few on the mediums, a bit of a mixed grid for the sprint. So it is going to be interesting to see what drivers are going to be up to, see how they manage the tyres they're on. So yeah, we'll be back for the race in a moment. Here we go then for the sprint race, and we're off. Oro leads us away into turn one. He is ahead of Exception, takes that nicely, and we've had a bit of a collision at the exit of turn one there, between 7 and an Alpine, and I'm not too sure who the third driver there was, but it was not exactly the greatest starts between them. Exception now passed on the Camel Straight into turns 6 and 7, I believe this is now. So Red Bull leading the Aston Martin at the minute. This is going to be pretty close. I don't know how much downforce Oro has on his car, but if he's running the wet setup that we saw him get pole position, then that is going to be extremely tough to stay on the back of the Red Bull here, especially as we come into sector 3 in a moment, and it is basically just a long flat out sector to the end. It is going to be close. It will be one head of a run for Oro in a moment. Let's see how this gets on through that flat out final sector. We go now into the chicane. We go. It is not exactly been the easiest run for the Aston Martin, but it is still well within DRS at the moment and looking pretty good. Depending on what he can do in this next part of the track is going to be absolutely crucial for the rest of his race. He has got his teammate Adam just behind him and just outside of DRS for his teammate there, so it's going to be extremely close for, well, it's going to be okay for Adam, it's going to be close for everyone behind that had DRS. It's not going to be helpful for him whatsoever. This battle for the lead at the moment is going to be close. Exception is still leading us away at the moment, but with that help of the DRS a moment ago has brought him much closer into play, as we are now halfway round this lap, and there is, well, going into this sequence of corners he was just shy of 3 tenths. He is now just over 6 tenths. It's not going to be easy for him at the minute, but he is pushing all he can out of this car, and I'm just knocked stuff off like an idiot. And Adam has taken a massive moment a second ago, and it has seen him drop all the way down to 11th place. It's not going to be what he needs in this race, and that's going to be extremely unfortunate for the Aston Martin driver there. So, although getting past Exception this time around, he has now retaken the lead of this Grand Prix. Exception getting extremely close on the exit of turn 7 and 8. It's going to be extremely close through the hairpin here, and Exception all over the back of the gearbox of Oro at the moment. He is no doubt going to have the pace down the long straight in a second to potentially get past. He could hold it out though for the DRS in a fair chunk. Well, I wouldn't say a fair chunk, it's not going to take him too long to get there, but it is going to be extremely close between the two of them. We have got a yellow flag at the start of Sector 2. It is unfortunately the Williams of Doctor has had a bit of a moment and crashed out of this race. That is not what Williams are going to want in this race. It is going to be costly for the team there. So 7, Oro and Exception all leading us away once again in this race. Exception just, I believe he was holding back a little bit there for just to hold off down for the DRS down the Kemmel Straight after Radion and Eau Rouge, and once again they are close enough for the move for Exception to make a move. He has moved to the left hand side of the circuit past the Aston Martin of Oro and back into the lead, and down we go in past turns 8 into 9 and 10 we go now. This is hopefully for us guys, it is going to last all race long. Let's move further down the grid now, as we haven't seen much action from these drivers in third, fourth places and down. But we have got 7 here in third place, collected up the pieces that Adam unfortunately dropped earlier on, and saw him drop down the order. So Adam in third place, Fives in fourth place at the minute, looking pretty good for these two drivers. They have got Jensen closing pretty quickly behind them, and who is also actually, unfortunately for him, going along with a time penalty in a minute of 3 seconds. It's going to be costly at the end of this race for him. Did he get DRS, or was he under a second at the section? I'm not too sure, but he has closed to just under a second a moment ago, and it is going to be extremely close for him to be able to get into the detection zone for the DRS in a moment. I think he made it, and now he can start closing up for a potential podium position for himself and the Haas team, as we see Fives making a move past 7, taking that final podium spot at the moment, and we are on lap 5 of 8 in this race, and it has been extremely close between these three drivers, well, these two at the moment, and Jensen joining the battle in a moment. It's been pretty close between Oro and Exception. They are still leading us away in this race, and only a second and a half ahead now of the chasing three of 5, 7 and Jensen, and looking pretty good for a nice final 3-lap battle in this, what has been so far an extremely good sprint race between these 5 drivers for definite. As let's take a few little look further down the grid. We've got Logan here on the back of Capitano for the final 2 points position places in this race, and we've also got Rowdy just in the background behind the Ferrari, looking to try and grab a late point in this race as well. It is going to be pretty close, no doubt. The two drivers there in the background of Rowdy and Logan with their DRS wide open on the back of Capitano, making everything, well, making his car look as wide as possible through turn 1, just to make sure no one gets past. Some good defending there for to make sure there was no gap left for anyone to dive down the inside of his car there. We've got Rowdy just trying to make the move on Logan there on the inside. He did have a little look, but it wasn't quite enough enough of a straight to pull anything off just there. Unfortunate for the Racing Bull driver, but as we've seen here, Capitano just doing everything he can to stay in 7th position and bring home some extra points for this Haas team, with his teammate currently in 5th place and only 2.5 seconds ahead of McCoy. It is going to look ever so increasingly likely he could drop to 6th place, but it is still very possible for Jensen to it is still possible for him to pull. No, he's just picked up a further 3-second penalty. He is going to potentially drop to behind his teammate. It is going to be costly for Jensen and his potentially his team at the minute as well. But we have got a lap and a bit left of this race, and it could go down the wire, down to the wire for Jensen on how far of a gap he can make. It is going to be extremely close. So it is lap 7 of 8. We've just seen Logan and Rowdy get past the Haas of Capitano, and he has now dropped out of the points in the sprint race, so it's going to be unfortunate for him. He will have around a lap and a half left to get past, try and get back past at least one of the two ahead of him for the points position back. What can he do in this final stage of the race? It is going to be extremely close for the Haas driver, but we will see in a moment. We've got Ago chasing them down as well. He is closing pretty quickly at the minute. We've got Adam as well, back up into P11 at the minute as well, looking to see what he can recover from this race. He is pretty close to Hago. He could well finish in the top 10. It isn't going to mean too much in 10th position, but he has got the pace to make some wonders at the moment as well. We have got some movement here up at the top of the field. We've just seen 7 here. We've got a 5-way battle for the lead between 5, Jensen, Oro, 7, Exception, all on the final lap of the race here. This is going to go down to the wire. What will happen in this final 7 kilometres of the track? 7 has just taken the lead on the Kemmel Straight. It is going to be extremely close between everyone here. We've just seen Jensen and Oro make contact. I'm not too sure if that was Jensen forced them off or what happened there, but it did not look like proper clean racing from this aspect of things. But Jensen in 3rd place, 5's in 4th place, Exception in 2nd, 7 in 1st. He has done extremely well to pull through the top 3 positions in this race as well. He is now how many positions has he moved up? He has moved up 3 positions in this race. He started in 4th. He's done pretty well to now pull through a 2-second gap on this final lap of the race. Jensen's now in 2nd place. He is holding a 6-second penalty, as we are now about to see 7 cross the line for the win in the sprint Spa race. Exception 5's Jensen, McCoy, Oro. Jensen has finished 6th place, Rowdy in 7th, Capitano, Logan in 9th, Ago in 10th, Adam in 11th, Mr. G crossed the line in 12th, Ryan in 13th, MJ in 14th, Ice Oliver in 15th and 16th, and Shifty will finish 17th, Pizza in 19th place, and that was a crazy end to the race. I'm not too sure what happened in that top 3, but yeah, what a crazy 8 laps we've just had there. So 7 Exception 5s will be your podium in this madness 8 races, 8 laps that we've just had. And let's see what qualifying for the main race will hold, and what the final what the main race will give us in a moment, once we have seen what 18 minutes of all out I guess somewhat pressure for some drivers make up for the previous qualifying session we had. So here we go then, 18 minutes of qualifying once again in Spa. We are going to see who has just gone out on track. It is a Mercedes of, is it Ego or Pizza? It is Ego. He will be our first driver to set the benchmark for the drivers to beat, and we are going to have a lovely dry session, and no doubt, well, I'm not going to say no doubt, but hopefully have once again a close qualifying session, and hopefully no barely any time separating the drivers, and make it as competitive as possible. So here we go, seeing Ego start us off with the first flying lap of qualifying, and let's see how he does through Rouge and Radion. He goes up into our first DRS zone and down the Camel Straight. He is going flat out 210 miles an hour at top speed, looking extremely strong so far. It is, I didn't actually see what the first sector time was, but it looked around the 24, I believe it normally is. So heading down into the middle of sector 2 we go now. He has got a Aston Martin ahead. Is he close enough to catch him for toe down the main straight, down the long straight in a moment? He is coming around the two low to medium speed left-handers. He's had a bit of a moment, and that is unfortunate for Ego. Not the first flying lap that he would have wanted in this session, but luckily for him at the moment there is plenty of time to go, as we are now on board watching Oro come down into the final two corners, the chicane, and finishing his lap off now. His teammate did just move out of the way nicely for him there, has picked up, so goes to a 43.005, and a very, very good first lap time on the board for us here. We are now about to see his teammate go past him up Rouge and Radion. Into the DRS zone we go, DRS wide open, and flat out down this straight here, up into turns 6, 7 and 8 I believe these are, and looking very, very good. A nice purple sector for the Aston Martin driver, who are looking for a front row lockout in this race. I believe it is, if they do that, it is their, it could well be their second of the season if they get it. And looking very, very good so far through the rest, through the middle part of the track so far. It is once again a purple sector for Adam. He is on a 114 through the first two parts of the track and now flat out basically to the chicane, and obviously, as we've seen many other drivers do, lifts a little bit through the left hander there, and now down through the chicane into the final part of the track now. Across the line, goes second fastest, a couple of attempts off of his teammate, but is still a very, very good lap time for Adam there, and very respectable for himself and his teammate up in the top two positions. Exception now on a 43.5 on the medium tyres. Pretty good lap time there for him. He could well break into the 42-second mark on the soft tyres and really open the session up if he decides to do that later on. We have got 11 minutes of qualifying left. We haven't really seen too many different drivers today. It's been quite a interesting one towards the top end of the grid today as well. So we are watching Capitano at the minute. He is on his first lap of qualifying. He's flying through sector 2 as things stand at the minute. He's looking pretty good so far. What is it gonna be? He's slightly off of the quickest lap time, but still looking fairly strong at the moment. This could well be a low. This could well be a mid 45 seconds, which will put him around 10th at the minute. But what can he do for himself this time around? He is 6th fastest. It is a 43.9 for Capitano. A very, very strong lap for the Haas driver there, and really shuts me up for definite on what I predicted his lap time to be, so fair enough. Very, very strong lap for Capitano, just behind his teammate, and knocking on the door for to potentially upset the top 5 that we've got at the minute. He is extremely close to them at the moment as well, so we will see what Capitano can do in a moment. Rowdy now is at the minute on a flying lap. Through the end of sector 2 we go. So Rowdy coming through the final part of this, his first flying lap at the minute, looking okay so far as he comes through the chicane, has a huge moment on the exit of the final corner, does go 12th fastest even with that slight little moment he's had. It's not going to be exactly what he needs, as we see I believe it was McCoy, unfortunately having a moment out of turn 1 there, but he is still carrying on with his lap. We'll see what the McLaren driver does now on the rest of this lap, see where it puts him. We are roughly halfway through this session, well, just over halfway through this session now, with bang on 8 minutes of qualifying left to go. We've still got 6 drivers who haven't set laps at the minute as well, so we'll see. Well, it is going to be interesting to see where the 2 McLarens, the Sauber, the Red Bull, the Ferrari, and the Alpine drivers can put their cars for put the cars for the race coming up shortly. We have 7.5 minutes to go. It is going to be extremely close for a lot of these guys to get a current lap in and get back out again for another lap. So McCoy coming up to the final couple of corners. He hasn't got too much DRS left at the minute. It is going to be close. It is a 44.6 and it moves him in to 10th place at the moment. And will he have enough? He should have enough time to get in and out. It is gonna potentially be a little bit close depending on how quick some of them depending on how quick some of them do their in-laps. We could well see some very, very close calls come the end of the session. We are seeing the two McLarens now help each other out, as I believe that is Mr. G also on a flying lap just behind, and is that Oro just behind as well on... He's not on a flying lap this time around, but we are seeing Mr. G and Fives, both of these drivers on flying laps. Is gonna be extremely close between these two. Fives getting a huge helping hand from the Red Bull, and I don't think he realises how much this could be helping the McLaren driver behind him here. Fives on 1:15.2, Mr. G on, I'm not too sure actually, I didn't quite see that, but it is, Mr. G is doing everything he can right now. It is going to be blimmin' close as we come to the end now. Through the chicane we go any minute now. Oh, and the McLaren getting extremely close to the gearbox of that Red Bull, and Mr. G goes 10th, Fives goes 3rd. They were some quick laps from both of them drivers. I think Fives possibly got slightly, not by anyone's fault or anything like that, but Fives may have got held up slightly in that chicane, but none of the two drivers can be blamed for that. They were both on flying laps and fairly as well. So a lot of drivers are on their way in. We have got Oro setting a fresh lap this time around, I believe. He is flown through, I believe he's on a hot lap at the minute. It looks to me as if he is. So we've got 4 minutes to go. Yeah, Oro currently on a 43.005 at the minute, so looking very, very strong to keep hold of this provisional pole position at the minute. His teammate 2 tenths behind, looking very, very strong as well for the second, could potentially pinch pole off his teammate, or he could potentially solidify the second grid spot for the race. It is going to be extremely close either way between the two Aston Martins when it comes down to the final laps that they both do. So Oro crossing the line once again. He is slightly off his previous time, but still well within the ballpark of his previous lap, so it is looking very, very good for the two Aston Martins as Adam just comes out the pit lane. So we'll go on board Adam's car shortly. We've got Rowdy setting another lap to try and move himself further up this starting grid. There is some extremely quick cars out there at the minute. So both Mercedes currently have retired from the session. They do not believe they're going to find themselves much further up the grid than where they already are. That is very early moves from the team, but it could well pay off in the race shortly. But interesting to see interesting to see both. Don't believe either of them crashed out on track, but I could be very, very wrong. So Rowdy coming up to the final part anyway of his, well, what could well be his final flying lap of the session. It is looking fairly good at the minute. I'm not too sure how far up on his time he is at the minute, but it is very, very good so far. He is 1.2 seconds up on his time, and he's moved himself into 14th position. That is a very good spot for the racing bull driver at the moment. So we've got Ryan and Anime who have, well, Anime has just started his only flying lap of the session. This is brave for the Ferrari driver. He has one shot and one shot only for he has one shot and one shot only for potential pole position for the main race. He's looking extremely good so far through the first sector and a half at the minute. A bit of a lock up into the hairpin that could well be costly as we go through the rest of the lap. This is going to be extremely close for Anime at the moment. We've just seen, I believe, Ryan cross. I was about to go on to Ryan's car, but he has crossed the line. He is 17th fastest at the moment. We've got Anime here as well, currently looking very, very strong. Or was looking very, very strong. That is extremely unfortunate for him. He's just unfortunately crashed as Ryan comes through. He's 2 tenths up on his time. He is currently quickest through sector 2. What can he do through the final part of this lap? It is going to be extremely close between the two Aston Martins, as we thought earlier on in this session. It is going to be pretty close now. Where can Adam put the Aston Martin as he goes a 10th behind his teammate? He gains a 10th on his time. He is second currently. Exception goes into second place. He has split the two Aston Martins now. Where can Fives put his car? We've got plenty of drivers still going through. We've got McCoy now on his way through. He's gone 6th fastest. We've got Oliver now as well. Very good lap from McCoy. We've got Oliver now going through. We've just had Jensen go up into 4th place. Oliver coming through the final couple of corners, and 7 taking provisional pole currently. He has got pole position on his very last lap of the session. I'll be honest, I did not even realise he was that close to the start finish line. His lap went unnoticed, but it is extremely good. He's taken pole by, I think it was 4 tenths of a second. 2 tenths of a second, so he's gone a 42.736. That is a very good lap there right at the end of the session, so it will be 7 Oro Exception leading us away in this Grand Prix, with Adam Jensen 5s, Oliver McCoy, MJ Capitano, Mr. G, Ice, Logan, Doctor, Ego, Rowdy, Ryan, Pizza, Shifty, and unfortunately Anime rounding off the grid there. Ooh, so we have a wet race ahead of us. Not too sure how much of it will be wet, but it is gonna be an extremely close start here and a very bunched grid. It is gonna be very sceptical for the drivers towards the back of the grid. Not too sure what they're going to see much of, and I can't say much like the sprint race, as that was dry, but it is going to be one hell of a ride going into turn 1, and the first lap could well see a few minor near misses, a few minor taps and things from drivers, but let's see what it brings in a moment. So drivers just making final few changes. We are hopefully going to be underway in a moment or so. Looking around, could well be wet for the majority of the race. It may not be, and we have 5 red lights and we are off. 7 leading us away, followed by Oro, an exception in the background there. Oro trying to pass 7 around the outside of turn 1, not quite making it work this time around. He is on the back of 7's car there as we go through Rouge and Radion. It is extremely close between these two drivers, and everyone passing through there quite nicely. Did see a car going slightly wide, and we see one in the background in the grass, unfortunately there. Oro and Exception making their way through past 7 there. Unfortunate for him. And Exception and Oro are in first and second at the minute. Exception leading us away, and we are seeing how unfortunately I can't see quite how treacherous it is for the drivers properly, but it does not look nice following the cars either way. We are on board the Williams of 7 at the minute, in third place, and as we see there, the tyre strategy not looking positive for everyone there. It is intermediates all the way to the end. They are not forced to make a pit stop this time around. It is wet until the end. So no mandatory pit stop, as we see Elvo and Exception looking like they have made a small amount of contact, and we do have our first DNF of the session. It is unfortunately the Ferrari of anime, not the race week he would have wanted this time around. Spa has not been kind to him in these sessions. At the minute, Ego has got a hugely damaged wing, so he will now box for a new one and will probably take fresh tyres, much like Ice and MJ here as well, both taking new front wings, so a fair few collisions in that first lap as MJ just overtakes Ice in the pit lane there. So everyone catching up to the safety car now, and we'll probably see one more full, probably one full lap behind it after this one. So as we are bunching up behind the safety car, let's see who has changed positions so far. Almost everyone with the, ironically unfortunately not ironically, the exception of, but yet the exception of Oro, Adam Johnson have all stayed in the positions they started with. Everyone else has swapped over. The biggest mover so far to be Ryan, started 17th place, has moved up into 11th at the moment, and unfortunately MJ, being the driver that has lost the most in that first lap of racing we had, has unfortunately dropped 8 places in this race. But we are only a couple of laps in, we are behind a safety car. We will still have plenty of racing opportunities for MJ to make his way back up the grid. It is gonna be, yeah, we're gonna have another lap behind the safety car. No doubt this could be a full lap and then it goes in after, but it could well go in at the end of this lap. Who knows? Like, we all know the game decides random things. It could just shock everyone and just disappear. Who knows? So, as we are obviously going to be behind the safety car for another couple of minutes, let's see how So yeah, as we are going to be behind the safety car a little bit more, quick update on the standings after last week's race. We have seen a little swap at the top. Oro has retaken the lead of the championship, followed by 7 and Adam in 3rd place, rounding off your top 3. There was a bit of a gap between the 3 of them of around 40-ish points, so still a lot to play for these 3 drivers. And we have got the 2 McLarens 4th and 5th leading the mid, well, not leading the midfield, but chasing down the top 3 pretty quickly. 6th and 7th place of the 2 Ferraris also looking pretty strong as well, but it is still all to play for in this championship fight between Oro and 7. We are only halfway through the season, and we are off racing once again. Exception Oro 7 leading us away in this race. They have already pulled a fair advantage from the rest of the field. They are roughly roughly 1.2 seconds ahead of the rest of the field is Exception Oro and 7 so far. Adam and Jensen doing whatever they can right now to close that gap back up. It is going to be tough for the these drivers behind them. It seems like the rain is starting to drop off a little bit now, and we could well see some dry tyres towards the end. I don't know what it looks like from the driver's point of view. It doesn't look fantastic. It does look to be, well, let's hope it does look to be easy, but who knows? This is Spa, this is Belgium. We all know this circuit throws a great lot of surprises, and unfortunately there, Oro just misjudging Exception's braking point there, and just tapping the rear end, giving himself a bit of wing damage on that left hand side. We have no, stop lying to me, we do not have a safety car game. Get rid of that, please. That is pathetic. I don't know why that is still up there. We are now heading on to lap 5, and these 3 are just still getting as close as ever, as 7 sets the fastest lap of a 154.8. That is pretty quick round here, especially with no DRS. They are going to probably be using a hell of a lot of battery for a lot of this race. We are seeing Oro on roughly half, we've got 7 on roughly half, and we've got Exception just caning through his battery at the minute, and I do not blame him. Oliver making making a move on the Haas of Jensen, making it nicely as well, and past the Haas driver, was at the same time setting the fastest first sector of anyone on the circuit at the minute. That was a lovely little move from the Alpine driver there, and he is gonna be straight back on the defensive from the Haas as well in a minute. He is also trying to attack the Aston Martin ahead. Adam has done pretty well so far to stay fourth, just trying to maximise whatever points he can get each week at race week at the minute. Had a fairly decent start to the season, not had a good couple of races here and there that's hampered a few chances of podiums and wins this season, but he has done extremely well almost every race as well, doing pretty well once again here in round the high long street circuit exception, setting the fastest at this time around of 54.6. Looking fairly good for these guys at the minute as well. Adam Oliver McCoy has also now got past Jensen, who's now down to 7th place. McCoy up into 6th, looking fairly good for these guys. This is again another strong battle, another strong showing from these Can-Am drivers, as Oliver now up into 4th place. I've pressed the wrong button like a donut here. McCoy up into 5th. Adam drops down to 6th place now. Not what he would have wanted, and there's a bit of contact there from Adam on the rear of McCoy. Not what he would have wanted. Could it have cost him a small amount of damage on that front wing? Potentially it may have done, as 5 just lurking in the background at the minute. 1.5 seconds off this fight for P4, and what can he do for the remainder of, well, we're already a quarter of the way through, third of the way through. That is crazy. But yeah, what can Fives do for the remainder of this? He's already gained half a second through Sector 2 so far. He's looked pretty strong through that part of the track so far, well, through the most of the race week so far. And what can he do? He is 8 tenths behind. He is going to be within striking distance, but we have now got a safety car here. We have unfortunately lost the Mercedes of Ago. Not too sure what happened to him here, but it is very unfortunate. Not what he would have wanted. Tough race for the Mercedes team at the minute, as Pizza is also in 17th place, making that 18th place, as he does jump into the pits for a set of fresh intermediate tyres. Much like we are seeing half the grid now in the pits at the minute, all opting for fresh tyres. Take them to the end and hope I hope that the fresh tyre will come in handy once it's rubbed in a little bit and got a nice flow going for them. Well, it will catch them up a bit quicker, as it will be newer compared to a fair few of these drivers on fair few of them are on 7 lap old tyres. A fair few of them boxed under the earlier safety car that we had in the first lap. So we have seen, actually, I stand corrected, we have seen some drivers jump on to the dry tyre here. So this is going to have thrown a spanner in the works. I thought it was drying up earlier in the race around 4 laps ago. It has dried up in this race. It is dried up quickly in this race as well. So this has thrown a huge spanner in the leading drivers' strategies here. I don't think many people expected it to be this dry this quickly. It is absolutely miraculous here. Yeah. So Doctor, by the looks of it, has been caught out by how quick it's dried up. Shifty has also been caught out by how quick it's dried up. Everyone else now diving into the pit lane for the fresh tyre. Everyone but exception who has stayed out on the intermediate tyres. This could be costly for the Red Bull team. His teammate Mr. G is now going to come to the back of the car and currently have a Red Bull 1-2 of exception Mr. G. Logan will round up the current provisional podium places. Ice and Rowdy in 4th and 5th. MJ Pizza 7 will now be in 8th place. So, the guys that took the gamble when it was still slightly wet, it has paid off for them at the minute. It has not paid off for the guys that it stayed out for at this moment in time under the safety car. It could well be it could well be an extremely mixed up grid come the end of this race. The safety car could well be in at the end of this lap, and we still have exception on the intermediate tyres. This could go very, very wrong for the current leader of the Grand Prix. It is going to be interesting to see what happens. The safety car is likely to go in. I will be back in literally a moment. As we see there as well, the safety car is in this lap. So safety car is in. Exception trying to build a bit of a gap to his teammate at the minute. He has stayed out for another lap on the intermediate tyres. Everyone else is on the dry tyre. He is still somehow leading, well, gapping his teammate at the minute. I'm not too sure how he's doing it on a dry track with wet tyres on. He has obviously used his overtake button, but it is it's a miracle, to be honest. Let's be honest. He's got the pace at the minute. Ice jumping past the Ferrari of Logan at the minute, who's now up into 3rd place. He's on the medium tyres, Logan on the hard tyres. We've got about a 50-50 split at the minute of the dry runners on the mediums and the hards. And Ice trying to look at the move on into 2nd place there. He's trying to find a little gap round the Red Bull in 2nd place of Mr. G. This is an even closer battle at the minute for the lead of this race. Mr. G trying to make a move around the outside of his teammate. Will he get it done, or is he going to do it? He has got into the lead, and exception. I've been kicked. No, my game's just broke. My game's just broke. No fucking way. No way. Huh. No way. Oh, I love it when this happens. Gotta love British internet. No, this is not who won the race. Got to love British internet. It is shocking. It honestly is awful. Right, we'll try and be back in to this as quick as we possibly can. So bear with me 2 seconds. Right, and hopefully we are back. Sorry about that, everyone. Right, we are back. We have missed roughly 3 laps of this race, I believe. We've got Exception still leading this race. We've got 7 just making the move around the outside of turns 7 and 8 there. It is... Wait. Right, so Exception now is down into... So yeah, okay, Exception has boxed for the medium tyres in this race. Let's have a look to see when he has done that. So stops. They have all done 1 stop with, apart from Ice, MJ, Ryan, Doctor have all done 2 stops. So Exception did box 2 laps ago. He is on 2-lap-old medium tyres. He's got Adam pretty close behind him at the minute. We'll go on board them 2 drivers in a moment. That is going to be a big battle between Exception and Adam if and when it happens. We've got 7 leading us away here. Ice closely following, well, 7 tenths behind, still fairly close in this battle for the lead. He has got DRS open. He is still 7 tenths behind. He's got Mr. G as well, pretty close behind, only 9 tenths. Going into the middle part of this race, we are fairly this could well be a fairly close battle for the lead. 7 does have a good amount of pace on most circuits that we go to. Ice is also one that is I'm not gonna say hit and miss, but he does seem to have his preferred tracks he likes to turn up at, shall we say. And we've also got Mr. G in the Red Bull just behind as well, who is one like that is also like Ice. Seems to be one that is a very good driver, very quick driver, but likes to pick and choose when he turns up. Still, we have got a very close battle for P2, P3, and at the minute it seems to be 7 going to be leading this race for a fair few more laps. We have got 8 laps to go. We are looking for a close battle in this midfield. We've got in this little battle at the minute, we've got Rowdy, Logan, Oro, McCoy all in this battle for P5. Logan just moving to the middle of the track, overtaking Rowdy now to take 5th place. A nice, fairly simple overtake there for the Ferrari driver on the racing ball, and he is now into 5th place. Rowdy into 6th. Oro chasing both these drivers down. He is trying to reclaim at least a podium position in this race after potentially not going to say messing, but potentially not quite hitting the strategy on the head this race. It wasn't an easy call for by any means, but half the grid got it spot on. The other half have been made to pay for the decision of then having to fight through the grid. But it is going to give us some extremely good racing for these laps. It has been a pretty good race so far for the all but 2 laps that we've seen. It is going to be one hell of a lap here from Oro, no doubt. He has got DRS. How quickly can he get past the cars ahead of him, get past this traffic, so he doesn't hamper his race too much more? He is going to try and go for the inside line there. He has right on the back of the gearbox of Rowdy at the moment. He is going to just slightly hold off on going through Rouge and Radion. He is basically side by side as we hit the DRS zone. DRS wide open now and past basically before he's even hit the DRS properly, and he will get past the Ferrari with somewhat of ease there. He is now up into 5th place and can seriously mount a real fighting chance for a podium here. He has, by the looks of it, got a penalty as well. Let's see what himself and other drivers' penalties are like for this race as well. I'm pressing the wrong buttons here. So, yes, Mr. G, Jensen and Oro have got 3 seconds, along with Doctor and Fives have also got 3 seconds. And Pizza, unfortunately, with the 6 seconds worth of penalties at the minute. We have got a fairly close battle in our hands here for P5 at the minute. Logan still on the back of the Aston Martin here, and will probably get DRS as we hit the detection zone in around now, pretty much actually, as they go past it into the chicane, up into turn one. The source we go, and we are going to see how quickly these guys can catch up through that DRS straight there. Not quite enough of a straight for them to do much. They have now flicking between the 9th 10th to a second mark. How far behind were they at the detection zone? Will Logan have DRS, or is he going to have to try? He's not put up too much of a fight there. He is now down into 8th place. McCoy and Rowdy get past. McCoy up into 6th place. He has had a pretty good opening part of the lap there. Here he is 1.2 seconds off, or at the minute he is gaining on the Aston Martin there, who's seems to be slightly struggling to catch up to 4th place Jensen at the moment, as Jensen now up into 3rd place he goes. He's now on the back of Mr. G and fighting hard for the 2nd spot on the podium. We've got an intense battle on our hands. He will need to do whatever he can to get past. Mr. G is going to have to do whatever he can to defend. It is going to be close through up into turn one. Who will come out through? Well, who will come out on top as we enter the corner? It is still Mr. G just ahead, as Jensen looks to have just stuck a nose to the side, had a little look, but wasn't quite happy with making the move there. Uruj will come, Radion will come. There it looked to be a small bit of contact there, and Mr. G does concede position there. Jensen up into 2nd place now, and will be fighting hard for giving 7 a battle in the final lap potentially here. He is 4 seconds behind. He is catching pretty quickly already. He's already knocked a couple of attempts off of that time. It's down to 3.9 at the minute. Mr. G looking to just stay within DRS now as we head down into the middle of sector 2 now. It is going to be extremely tough for the Red Bull driver to stay in DRS. Jensen has got some serious pace in that Haas at the minute. He's not really using the overtake button at the minute. He has got hot lap on, and he's just putting qualifying laps in by the looks of it to do whatever he can for the lead of this race. It is going to be tight with him, but he is just going to try and put 7 under pressure if he can catch up to him in the final 5 laps. He is 3.5 seconds behind. It is going to be extremely close. Further down, we've still got Ice and Mr. G battling out for the final podium position. McCoy and Oro looking pretty strong as well. They are going to be fighting it out for 5th and 6th in the next few laps or so. Did he get DRS? Not this time around. He was just outside the detection zone. Got Rowdy, Logan as well for 7th and 8th in this race. They are some way ahead of Exceptional at the minute, who's just in a bit of a lonely little race at the moment, and 9th. So he's just got to bring it home at the minute for a few points. It's going to be a probably what will seem like forever for the Red Bull driver, but he is gaining pretty quick on the cars ahead. We'll see where he is in a few laps time, see if he is in any sort of striking distance to the Ferrari and Racing Ball ahead. It could be close. It could stay at this gap that currently is. So the two Saubers here are fighting the sole Mercedes in this race of Pizza Dog. They are currently 10th, 11th and 12th. They are fighting it out for the final points position. Pizza Dog on the unfortunate disadvantage of a 6-second penalty with just what's that bit of contact there between the back of MJ's Sauber and front of Pizza's Mercedes there. It looked extremely close and it nearly happened again there. Pizza not quite registering the braking moves of the braking points of the Sauber ahead of him. They have been extremely close multiple times through that third sector, and Oliver and Fives battling out for 13th and 14th. This is a strong battle, two very strong drivers up against each other at the minute. They are on 3-second penalties. Doctor just get past Capitano down the Camel straight there, and is looking to be a good battle to the end as well. Doctor all over the back. No, Doctor Capitano all over the back of Doctor at the minute as well. So another two very good drivers here, looking for a good battle. It may not be 4 points come the end of this race, but they know they would have pushed each other all the way to the end for these positions at the moment. So we've got Adam, unfortunately, in 18th place, just ahead of him, Shifty in 17th. So, not the races these guys would have wanted whatsoever. We are 2.5 laps to go in this race. 7 leading us by 4.5 seconds roughly. It seems like Jensen was not quite able to do enough to catch up quick enough. So he is going to probably settle for potentially second place in this race. Although up into third place at the minute in that final provisional podium position at the minute. He has got 3 cars behind him of Ice and Mr. G. This could well be this is going to be an extremely exciting battle to the end. Four drivers all in the fight for this place. Although Mr. G and McCoy all on 3 seconds of penalties. Ice, the only driver in that quadruple of drivers there, not have a time penalty, so it could, all he's got to do really is keep it clean and the position is his. Although we'll want to do is gain another 2.5 seconds, but it is going to be close. It is going to be very, very tight between as to whether Ori can do it. It's going to be tough with the two DRS zones that bring drivers back into races fairly easily here, and they are only 3.5 seconds off of Jensen, who's dropped quite far. All of that time he gained on that car there ahead of him of the Williams, he has lost in just as much time through not quite managing his ERS as he probably would have liked. Jensen seems to be safe of that second position at the minute, 7 definitely seems safe of P1 at the moment as well. He doesn't look like much is going to trouble him in this final part. So we are 1.5 laps away from potentially seeing the Williams team and 7 on top. Ice has unfortunately got himself a time penalty. Not what he's going to want. Not Definitely not what he's going to have wanted this late into the race. But we will have one hell of a 4-car battle here for the final podium position. It is between Oro, Ice, McCoy, Mr. G. All have 3 seconds of penalties. All down to this final lap. It is going to be close. We will see what it is like in a moment. We've got a few little battles down here for 7th position of Rowdy Logan Exception in 9th at the minute. He's looking to maximise some more points after earlier on, so he will have DRS. He is 7 tenths behind the Ferrari here, who's 9 tenths behind the car ahead of him. Both have DRS wide open. That DRS just helping the Ferrari out there keep just ahead of the Red Bull. It is going to be close. It is. It's going to be fairly close between these guys as well. Not much separates them. They've all got very, very good driver and driver abilities, and they can all do well when defending. So we have actually got a small battle going on at the back of the grid between Adam and Pizza for that final position. It's a bit one-sided, admittedly, in Pizza's favour, but Adam is probably going to give it a go to try and defend what he can from this race. So final corner for 7. He is coming across the line now. He does win the Belgium Grand Prix here with Can-Am. Jensen, Oro, McCoy will come across the line as well, along with Ice and Mr. G. It has been a fantastic race for them guys. Great battles all round. Rowdy in 7th place. Exception, Logan and Exception swap places towards the end there. We've got some strange contact between AIs at the end, and Exception in 9th, MJ in 10th to round off our points positions. And we've got Capitano, no, that's shifted, it's just come across the line. We will have Pizza in 17th and Adam, unfortunately, in 18th place after time penalties have also taken into account. He will unfortunately drop even further behind. It has not been the race for that Aston Martin driver of Adam, but it has been a good race for his teammate Oro, bringing home some very, very good points. Jensen bringing home some extremely good points for the Haas team as well. It is going to go a long way in that championship battle. 7 takes home the win. Jensen in 2nd. Oro, I believe, was in 3rd place. Thief, you're not wrong there. The sprint was a bit of a crazy last lap. Mid part of the main race, I don't really know, to be honest. I got kicked out. but yeah, it was also interesting from my perspective anyway, I believe. But here is our podium. We've got 7, Jensen, Oro as your top 3, McCoy, Ice, Exception, Rowdy, Mr. G, 5s, Logan, rounding off your top 10. It has been one interesting qualifying sessions, should I say, and an interesting last lap collision in the sprint race, seeing a few people not go to plan for their race, and the main race seeing plenty of battles up and down the grid. So thank you everyone for watching Can-Am's Spa race. This has been Bucko. We will see you all next week when we go to the lovely UAE and Bahrain. So until next time everyone, goodbye. Hope you all have a fantastic week.